On a recent exercise ride, my chain started dropping from the chainring every time I pedaled a complete revolution. The only way I could keep the chain on was by shifting to one of the mid-cogs on the rear. At home, I did some inspecting and came up with a couple of solutions to eliminate this problem. I'll show you what I did next. This is my current drivetrain setup. As you can see, I don't use a front derailleur since I only use a single chainring. When I'm exercising, my rides are more for cardio and strength, so having a single chainring works fine for my needs. I do have a chain guide on the frame side of the chainring, so the chain never drops on that side. When it has dropped, which over 5 years was an extremely rare event, it's always dropped on the crank arm side of the chainring. In watching what happens when the chain drops, I noticed it always drops from the same spot on the chainring. There's some missing paint on the chainring that could be from the chain dropping in the same spot all the time. I'll take a look in that area more closely. I checked the alignment of the chainring and could see a very small bend in the teeth. I decided to bend the teeth back with a plier. It's not too risky since this is a steel chainring, as long as I don't keep bending it back and forth too many times. It did take a couple of attempts to get the right bend in the teeth, but after that, everything seemed to be well aligned when pedaling. My drivetrain seems to be back to normal, but while I'm at it, I'm going to add one more thing I've wanted to add for a very long time. Because I only have one chainring, I've always wanted a chain guide to make it even tougher for the chain to drop unexpectedly. I came up with this idea to mount a piece of half-inch PVC pipe to the rear triangle to push the chain in slightly and keep it more aligned with the chainring no matter what cog my chain is sitting on in the rear. Right now I'm deciding where it will mount before drilling the mounting holes in the PVC. I have a general idea of where to drill the holes on both ends of the PVC pipe. The location is not pinpoint exact, so you should be okay with eyeballing it. It's only needed for threading a couple of zip ties through it, which will wrap around the upper and lower stays of the rear triangle. The hold will not be firm, but I don't think movement of the PVC pipe will affect its ability to guide the chain correctly. Thread the zip ties through the holes on both ends of the PVC pipe. Loosely tie both ends of the PVC to the stays, leaving enough slack in the zip tie so it can be slid along the stays while you decide where you want the PVC guide to stay in place permanently. When you think you've found the right positioning of the PVC guide, tighten both zip ties as much as possible. A plier helps if you don't have a strong grip for pulling on the thin zip tie to tighten it. If you later realize the PVC guide is in the wrong position, you can always cut the zip ties off and remount it. In a dry run to test the effectiveness of the PVC guide, you can see how the cylindrical shape of the PVC pipe helps prevent the chain from getting caught on any surface the chain has to slide over. What's nice about the guide being zip-tied in place is that if the crank arm hits the guide will slide back away from the crank arm but still work perfectly fine. I took my bicycle outside to do a test ride in the parking lot, and the guide seems to be working as planned. I did use it on one of my exercise rides, and on that 1.5 hour ride, even purposely riding over bumpier than usual terrain, the chain held in place really well for a road bike being used on enduro-like conditions. I couldn't catch this on video since my camera probably would have vibrated loose, but the guide is working much better than expected. I hope this makeshift budget chain guide can work for you, maybe even in an emergency situation at a race. Leave your questions and comments in the comment section below. That's all I have for now, and I'll catch you in the next video.